So I am going to read the stage directions, so bear with me here. So the Countess, Medici, Mozart, Vivaldi, and he's a valet, and later on he becomes Beethoven. Those are our characters. The setting, a lavish parlor in a Tuscany villa. The times, September 1789, 2 months after the storming of the Bastille. The synopsis, a dinner party at the Countess' summer estate with all of Florence's high society in attendance. And the villa is abuzz, anxiously awaiting the arrival of the evening's mystery performer. But the invitation to the guest performer has been delayed in transit, and the Countess has commissioned a backup. All goes awry when both performers show up on the same night. An elegant parlor in a Tuscany villa. At center stage is a plush divan with a Queen Anne upholstered chair, small table, and oil lamp. On the walls hang 18th century artwork, a child portrait, and a still life bowl of fruit. As lights come up low, we cue the music. We hear a short excerpt of Vivaldi's Four Seasons. As the lights fade up to full, the music fades down. Enter Countess and Vivaldi.
Thank you for coming, Signor Vivaldi. Forgive me for sneaking you in here by the servants' quarters. I want my guest to be utterly surprised this evening.
It's my pleasure, Countess. Please, Antonio.
Oh, Maestro. I'm so pleased you were able to make it. We were a bit concerned when we hadn't received your reply.
Enter the valet, who helps Vivaldi with his coat and hat, takes his violin case, and places it on the divan. Exit valet.
1,000 pardons, Countess Medici. Your generous proposal was mingled in my post. I only but received it 2 days ago, and made arrangements to be here immediatamente.
Oh, pish posh, no matter. You're here now, and we're so looking forward to your performance tonight. And please, Amelia.
As am I to giving it, Amelia.
With all the demonstrations and beheadings in Paris these days, I believe an evening of refined and civilized music is just what we need here in Tuscany.
I hear the city cobblestones have been turned red with blood, and Louis and the Queen have escaped Versailles in fear of their lives.
Nasty business, when radicals forget their place and want to alter the social classes. Don't you agree?
Oh, if you don't mind, Countess, it's not my nature to speculate on political ideologies. You understand.
Of course. Well, now I must attend to my soiree. We're expecting over 300 guests this evening. All of Florence high society will be in attendance.
I'm looking forward to entertaining them all.
Ever since my dear departed husband, the Grand Duke, left me, I must, how would you say it, Maestro, orchestrate every detail. Quite the ordeal.
I too have some orchestrating to do.
Please, make yourself comfortable. Everyone is still arriving and will be seated presently. Once the first course has been served, I'll introduce you. In the meantime, I'll have some dinner brought up. The food is divine, prepared by the premier chef in all of Italy.
Grazie mille, Countess.
Amelia.
Vivaldi bows his head and smiles. Exit Countess. He makes his way around the room, admiring the decor, then to the couch and his violin case. He removes his violin and plucks a few chords, adjusts the tuning pegs and plucks again. We hear Mozart's A Little Night Music. As music fades, enter Mozart, storming into the room, followed by the valet.
This is an outrage! How dare you! The servants' entryway! Do you know who I am?
Of course, Signore Mozart. Everyone knows who you are, which is why we've been instructed to escort this evening's performers through the rear entrance to keep their identity a mystery.
Well, okay then. There you have it.
I'll alert the Countess of your arrival at once.
Yes, why don't you do that?
Pardon? Performers?
What I intended to say was...
Actors freeze. Valet takes center stage, lights low, spotlight, addresses the audience directly.
I seem to be in a pickle. This one was hired to entertain the masses, and when we didn't hear back, the Countess commissioned Herr Mozart for the job. Of course, Mozart travels the globe like a fugitive from the law, so we weren't quite sure if he received our overtures. Other measures were taken. Musicians are a breed unto themselves, both on time What were the odds?
Returns to his place on stage, lights up.
Why don't I find the Countess?
Exit valet.
Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart at your service.
Your reputation precedes you, Signore.
I don't believe I've had the honor.
Your humble servant, Antonio Vivaldi.
Such an honor to meet you, Signor Vivaldi. I am a great admirer of your work, especially La Quattro Stagioni.
The Four Seasons! Yes.
I heard a performance a year ago in Vienna. Truly magnifico.
Yes, it's the only music of mine anyone ever remembers.
The way you captured the essence of each season. Your winter concerto made me shiver.
Yes, you know I've written over 500 concerti.
An inspiration to the music world, indeed.
My blunder for composing a masterpiece.
Tell me about it.
Joins him on the couch.
You too?
626 compositions to my name, and all they desire is a little night music. Wherever I go, I'm beseeched to play it, incessantly. I'm seriously afflicted. I rue the day I wrote the darn thing.
It's lamentable.
Indecent, if you ask me.
A moment while each are caught up in their own misery.
So, Signore, if you don't mind my inquiry, what are you doing here?
What do you presume? I was commissioned by Countess Medici to perform tonight, paying twice my standard fee. Said it was some sort of emergency because the original soloist came down with an affliction. I heard it was syphilis.
Syphilis?
You know, the French disease.
A pause, then Mozart's expression tells us he's figured it out as he slowly turns toward Vivaldi, then notices how close they're sitting. He responds while he carefully shifts his body away.
I didn't contract syphilis!
Of course you didn't. Neither did I. You don't have it. I certainly don't have it. Neither one of us had it. It's a blessing. Not something you want to force around with. I mean, vile, nasty stuff, my friend. Gunther had it.
Oh, enough of that. Back to our dilemma. We've both been commissioned to perform tonight. What are we going to do?
Mozart makes his way around the room as he considers the problem.
Yes. Well, as I see it, there are 3 prudent remedies. How about a duet? A clever notion. You have your violin. I'm sure there's a harpsichord around here somewhere. If not, I brought my clavier.
I don't think so.
No worries. What say we divide and conquer? You know, like those Parisian insurgents. You take the first act, I'll take the second. No reason to lose our heads over this.
I'm not an opening act. Certainly not for you.
Stubborn, huh? Very well, but my final solution might seem a bit awkward.
How's that?
Because, Signor, it entails a captivating performance by me and you finding a seat in the back.
You vexing little vermin. How dare you treat me like a second-rate player? I was entertaining royal crowns before you were hatched.
Let's be mindful that the Countess solicited my services because she didn't trust that you were up to the task. I'm here to rescue your Keister.
Keister doesn't need to be rescued. Why don't I handle tonight's performance solo mio and you run home to Papa?
I'm not going anywhere.
There is a pause. Actors freeze. Vivaldi takes center stage, lights low, spotlight, addresses audience directly.
Did you see that? Did you see that? This conniving, indecent little serpent, this ruthless, barbaric little leech, thinks he can just minuet himself onto my stage, take baguettes out of the bellies of my offspring, and throw me into the Tiber like some condemned criminal. Who does this rascal think he is? Damn me, if I'm going to allow this Salzburg swindler to finagle me out of my legitimate seat.
Returns to his place on stage, lights up.
Well, neither am I.
I don't know how you regard my music, sir, but in case you're unaware, I've composed 22 operas.
Oh, my compliments. If we tally the ledger, I've written 46.
Full operas?
Is there any other kind?
And where have they been performed? In your country barn?
My operas have been conducted on palace stages throughout Europe. If you think me deceitful, make inquiries of my comrades. Does Johann Sebastian Bach ring a bell?
I don't know. Is that his instrument of choice?
You're speaking of the preeminent Baroque legend.
This is the 90s, Signor. Okay, 1789. We're featuring classical music this century.
Classical? Ha! Is that what you call it? Your finest composition couldn't hold a candle to my work.
I'd like to hold a candle to your work and watch the sheets smolder into ashes.
Oh, I'll wager you would. Even in your proudest hour, Mozart, you couldn't dream of composing music as classic as my Four Seasons.
Why don't you take your 4 seasons and your 46 operettas and crawl back into the wine cellar you've been hibernating in?
Removes a white glove from his pocket.
That, signori, is your final provocation of my good character.
He smacks Mozart across the face, then drops the glove on the floor. Mozart picks it up.
I lift up the gauntlet of disdain and refute your assault with contempt.
He raises the glove and is about to strike. Enter Countess.
Signor Mozart, what's the meaning of this?
Actors freeze. Lights low. Mozart takes center stage. Spotlight addresses audience directly.
I don't know what's come over me. I'm dueling with Vivaldi. Antonio Vivaldi, the maestro, my hero, my noble paragon. I adored his work growing up. The quintessential virtuoso my father compelled me to study to appreciate the finer points of the violin. I learned to love music. It became my new world, my passion, my reason for breathing. I owe so much to this man, and I'm so ashamed for what I'm about to do. But as Papa always said, commerce is commerce.
Returns to his place on stage, lights up. You, well.
He provoked me.
I did no such thing.
That's a monumental, obscene deception.
What was that?
A big fat lie.
What in the name of the promised land is going on here?
Scallywag.
Rabble.
Rogue.
Knave.
Oh, Signor,
Countess, my humble apologies for this intrusion. I am convinced this interloper has escaped from King Louis's Bastille.
In your night visions,
Should I get a message to the Reign of Terror?
he just wants me out of the way for his own self-serving purposes.
Charlatan.
Rapscallion.
Say the word, I'll have this scoundrel removed from the premises immediatamente.
Countess Medici, I'm prepared to captivate your patrons with selections from my vast repertoire of renowned symphonies. Your banquet is assured to be acclaimed a gala for all the ages.
my word.
Whereas, if you choose this pretender, I sincerely dread that you will be shamefully ridiculed in the morning edition of the Daily Florentine Gazette. Page 6.
I cannot believe that the two of you would shamefully besmirch one another like this. I'm beside myself.
Actors freeze, lights low. Countess takes center stage. Spotlight addresses audience directly.
What was I thinking? The Signorio told me I was ludicrous to consider Vivaldi for this evening's gala. Where has he been? What has he undertaken of late? Half of them thought he was already at peace beneath the lilies. You desire Italian, go with Rossini, or Paganini. German, send word to Haydn, or Telemann, or Beethoven. Mozart, pretentious and temperamental. I should have heeded their words of advice.
Returns to a place on stage, lights up.
Signor Vivaldi, Maestro Mozart is one of the most talented young composers in all of Europe. And Signori, the Maestro is one of Italy's most noble and accomplished artistes.
Tell me about it.
I beseech you to abandon this folly straight away. Reconcile all differences at once and let's dispose of this poppycock.
The two men reluctantly shake hands.
Bravo. Now that that's settled, let's resolve the matter at hand. Due to unavoidable circumstances, you have both arrived on the same night, and I, for one, consider that a fortunate turn of events. I would genuinely relish a collaboration of my two distinguished composers, performing one another's most enchanting compositions. What do you say?
Countess Medici, while your proposition is tempting, I must object. There is no musical score, no time to rehearse. The consequences, I fear, would be calamitous.
Signore?
I must agree with my venerable colleague. The outcome would not be worthy of you or your guests.
I see. Then the only solution is to divide the evening. Antonio, you open the program, and Mozart, you'll close. Are we agreed?
Vivaldi begins to object, but a quick look from the Countess puts him in his place.
First-rate solution.
Very well. Now I must return to my guests. Be ready. The entertainment will begin presently.
Enter Beethoven.
Removing top coat. Countess di Medici, My apologies for my tardiness. One of my horses came up lame and we had to stop at a luca for several hours while they...
Wait a minute. Don't I know you?
Another interloper. Who might this be?
Actors freeze, lights low. Beethoven takes center stage. A sly smile. Spotlight.
What? Can we go on or thank you?
Good job, thanks.
Very good. Okay. What do we want to tell Ida?
He needs
Yeah,
a
I
better
know.
sound clip. Do you need them or?
Did it change?
Just take one. Take one.
It was very clever. Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe it. Very clever.
No, I think it's good even for, even people who, have only got the sketchiest idea of who these three names are. You show them as real people, they're also real performers, and they need those egos because they're pushing themselves forward, and like you were saying, they were grabbing whatever gigs they could get, and on those few occasions when they smashed into each other, you know, it's the point, I cannot be less than what I am, genius.
Well, I do have a disclaimer because Vivaldi actually died 40 years before Mozart was born. Beethoven would have been 7 years old in this play, so I did have to take some artistic lessons.
Yeah, you had that disclaimer.
I did, I didn't read it. Tell me what you didn't like.
Jill's accent.
Yeah, I didn't know exactly what you were doing there, but.
Hello, Maria. Hello, Maria.
Okay, I definitely liked it, I'll say that. I was a little thrown by the chronologies, the geography, you setting this when?
The 1789 in Tuscany.
Which is when Beethoven was 19 and hadn't composed the Fifth Symphony, when Vivaldi was dead, and none of these guys ever hit Tuscany.
That may have been a.
Theater.
So, is that an issue?
Well, I mean, it is if you really want to, split hairs, I guess.
Well,
I went through the Baroque and the classical, composers and tried to pick, I wanted to pick well-known, very well-known, so I think at the top of the list is always Mozart and Beethoven, and then Vivaldi is my favorite, so I wanted to get him in there, and then, kind of play with it and see where it went, so. I mean, originally it was a union meeting where these composers come in and they're complaining that they're not getting any jobs, so, I mean, it went from that to a Tuscany villa and a countess. So, I mean, I played with a lot of different scenarios until I found this one. And I thought it worked. If two performers show up and it could, the invitation got lost in the mail to Vivaldi, so she hired Mozart. And she didn't know if she got him, so she called Beethoven. And, that's what could happen, I guess, in those times when the U.S. Post Office wasn't open.
Could happen now.
And others didn't Alan Alda write a play about two unlikely people who meet in a bar, the Racine, something like that?
Also, that reminds me more of Steve Martin's Picasso
Lapine.
at the Lapin.
Oh, that's the one, right, the
Where-
Lapine, right,
Yeah.
I was close.
Right.
I remember it, and it was just unlikely, and other people have written unlikely people getting together, and, Freud, and.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Which can work very well, yeah. Picasso, I think Lapin La Gille has, Einstein, Elvis Presley, who else? I can't remember. Picasso, of course. And it may be a piece to look at, how he handles these
Right.
things, and if or techniques you want to draw from.
Mhm.
I like your dialogue a lot. That's to me the strength, big strength. It may have gotten a little bogged down because at the end, the resolution is basically something that they've come up discussing before. Oh, well, I'll take one act, you take the next.
Right.
So it's as if you don't, when you come to the Countess's resolution, we're still at that same spot in the action.
Right,
Is there a way to perhaps
change it.
complicate that
Right,
somehow?
gotcha.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe
Vivaldi
you think-
was,
No, that's a good point.
Maybe you
That's
can
what
make
it
yeah,
is.
it,
Vivaldi says, I don't open
Wait,
for
let him
anybody.
talk.
Oh, no, I don't play second. The previous
Right.
solution was that Vivaldi came second.
Hmm.
So the Countess's solution is that Vivaldi opens. So that satisfies his.
No,
I thought-
No, actually,
Vivaldi
Vivaldi-
said, I don't open.
I don't open
I'm
for
no
you.
act
Yeah,
open.
I'm not opening yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so it was the same. I thought.
That's
I
what threw Larry and it threw me too, because when the character
think it might have
says,
been an earlier version that you sent, where the
Everybody was-
earlier version that I
oh,
remember,
28
Vivaldi.
okay.
He says, I'll go first and you follow me, and then Vivaldi says, I don't follow anybody.
Right.
So when the Countess comes in and says, Vivaldi, you go first, he's like, well, alright. Plus he wants to do
But
what the
switching it
Countess
up
says.
and what if you made
But
more
then
of the,
when,
what
when
if you made more?
Beethoven walks in, all bets are off, because like Beethoven, you two guys are out. You leave
Yeah.
up to the audience's imagination.
Well, that's all I needed
Beethoven was
was,
deaf.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of, what I wanted a little bit more of was like noises off. Like, so one person going, one person leaving, one person like, I thought it would be really kind of cool if like, one musician leaves to go get dinner somewhere, then like a third one shows up, and like the ballet's there, and they're like kind of like, oh my gosh, then they've got to try to hustle one guy out, so they're trying to like keep him from,
right,
you know?
right.
But that would be 3 acts, Cal.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
That would be far.
Form, you know,
And a lot of tours.
two acts.
Yeah.
You wanted to say something?
I mean, what if the two, if they finally get to a scuffle, Vivaldi and Mozart, they both refuse to do anything, the Countess is in shambles, all of a sudden, boom, 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 and
Right.
there you're over.
And
Beethoven shows
Oh,
up.
that's true, yeah, there's
Yeah,
a dilemma.
It's a
Look
possibility.
at that, you got 4 different places.
That's 28.
Steve Allen had a show, I think it was Moments in History, we brought in
Yeah.
Meeting
Yeah.
of
Great
Meeting of Minds.
show.
Meeting of Minds,
It
yeah,
was a series, it was
Yeah.
a series, it ran, actually ran about 2 seasons.
Yes, on
Yeah.
Channel 13.
Yeah,
where he did
he kept thinking though, if he could get this whole cast from the Tonight Show together, you know, you'd have Thomas More slipping a whoopee cushion under Karl Marx.
Did Woody Allen have a movie? What was the Woody Allen movie that all the great writers?
Oh, Paris.
Oh.
Midnight.
Yeah.
Midnight,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wednesday
Wednesday.
in Paris,
Yeah.
right, so
Okay,
writers,
thank you.
filmmakers,
Not much.